can't you just go get one? I already told you yes, go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, today you did, or yesterday, you did 20 problems that were on that sideboard. Today we're going over it. Keep it a secret, but those same problems will appear on a test that you'll be taking next week. We'll watch it on Friday. They'll post it today. You'll be able to go over it. And then when we have the test, I'm not telling you which day, when we have the test, you'll be able to use these notes on the test. However, I won't let you go to your locker to get your notes, so make sure you bring them every day. I'm doing them in whatever order I want because too many of you didn't write down the problem. You just started writing answers down, so too bad. First one I'm going to do, 8n equals 800. Now we did one of the problems like this on the last test we had. And I don't know what you guys made up stuff. Number and a letter side by side means multiply. I know I'm filming this, so I don't have to teach tomorrow. I can just show the video. Okay. Means multiply. So what this problem is asking you is 8 times what equals 800? Well, if you know your multiplication, I'm not taking questions. It's 8 times 100 equals 800. 8 times 100 equals 800. Oh, let's do another one here. Let's do 7/8 minus 2/3. Now, as I was walking around today seeing what you were working on, I saw too many people trying to work them horizontally. I'm not answering questions. We had a problem like this. You should write it vertically. Can we? Go ahead. Can we do them like they're written? No. Thank you for participating. Why? Because they don't have a common denominator. So I need to change these so that they both have a common denominator. I need to find my common denominator. My two denominators are 8 and 3. If I use my multiplication chart, it becomes very easy to see what it is. We have 8, 16, 24, 32, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24 is my common denominator. You should be getting to where you know these right now, where you can go ahead and fill them in without having to go through all the work, but you know how to go through all the work, so do it. We're changing so these both have a denominator of 24. Neither of them currently have a denominator of 24. We have to multiply by a fraction that equals 1. If you multiply by a fraction that equals 1, you do not change the value. We don't want the value changed. We just want the way it's written changed. Just like 60 minutes equals an hour. What do I multiply by 8 to get 24? 60, I said. So then this one becomes 21 over 24. What do I multiply by 3 to get 24? 8/8. So this becomes 16. It is a subtraction problem. Do not mess that up and add. Because if this were a multiple choice problem on a test, I might put the addition answer on there. Because that's the way I am. That's the way I am. All right. Now we have to subtract. 21 minus 16 is 5. So, and the denominator stays the same. 5/24. So we need to see if we can simplify. We find our factors of 5 and our factors of 24. 1 times 5, this is prime. 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. Greatest common factor is 1. That means this fraction's already simplified. 5/24 would be my answer. Thank you for playing. Let's erase this and go to the next problem. And again, I'm not doing them in the order they will appear on the test because I don't have to. I don't have to. Because I'm the boss. Yo soy el jefe del mundo. Yo soy rey del mundo. Let's do 9 plus 2 times 4 minus 1. Minus 5. Okay, so we're doing that problem next. Now, first thing we got to recognize is a number next to parentheses. That means multiply. You multiply whatever you get in the parentheses by this number. Our order of operation, we have parentheses, exponents, multiply and divide, which is the same as saying divide and multiply because it's all the same step. Hey, that's my initials. And then add and subtract, or subtract and add. Same thing, whichever comes first, left to right. Boom, parentheses first, because that's what it says. 4 minus 1 is 3. Bring down everything we have not used yet. This is saying 2 times the difference of 4 and 1. So this means 2 times 3. Bring down everything we have not used yet. Now we have no parentheses, we have no exponents, we have multiplication. So we do that next. 6, 9 plus 6 minus 5. Then we do addition and subtraction from left to right. 9 plus 6 is 15 minus 5. And then we have 10. So answer to that problem would be 10. Because that's the way I roll. So we've done that problem. Let's go with hey, Anton, will you see if on top of that computer cart, if my griddable thing is there? You know what I'm talking about? The one you gridded on the STAR test? 360 and 8 hundredths. It's not up there? Okay. Subtracts 178 and 5 tenths. Important thing when we're adding and subtracting decimals, we need to make sure we line up the decimal points. Add our magic zeros. So we have 360 and 8 hundredths. Subtract 178 and 5 tenths. Put in my magic zero. Okay, this problem on the test is going to be griddable. So allow me a moment to draw that real quick. Alright, and so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Same thing here. And same thing here. Should start with 0, right? I think 0's up here. So just pretend we have zeros up there. Here's my decimal point, all the way down to decimal point. Same thing here.
Rocky, this kid's been ringing in the hallway. Oh.
And I sent you upstairs, Rocky.
Huh?
You're supposed to go upstairs.
Where?
Miss Smith.
We don't have that anymore.
You do.
I do?
Yes, you do. I told you that 3 times already. All right, so when we're subtracting, what? Yeah. When we're subtracting with decimals, we line the decimal points up. We do our borrowing. 8 minus 0 is 8. Boom, shakalaka, that's awesome. 0 minus 5, really can't do that. So you have to borrow, oh, can't borrow from that 0. So that 6 becomes a 5. This becomes a 9, and this is a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 8 is 1. Decimal point comes straight down. 5 minus 7. 15 minus 7. And so I should get 181 and 58 hundredths. When gridding in, it's really important to line up with your decimal point. So my decimal point needs to be between the 1 and the 5. And then it's equally important to make sure you bubble in correctly. Because the machine that scans these, it's not reading this.
Mr. McMurdo?
Yes, ma'am.
Is Declan with you?
Yes, ma'am.
I need him for early dismissal, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, what do you need?
She said you can send it back anytime.
Oh, thank you. Now you know where it's at. Mr. McMurdo, I won't be a distraction in your class today. I also will not be a distraction in any other class either. And for my unthoughtful actions today, I hope you will forgive me. Of course I forgive you. You're my boy, Blue. All right, so we'd have to bubble this in correctly. Because again, the machine looks at the bubbles, doesn't look at the numbers at the top. So you need to make sure you bubble in correctly. So now we've done that problem. Let's cross it off. Let's go to 2,340 divided by 15. And this one's also going to be a griddable. Most of the ones except the fraction ones will be griddable. And just so you're aware, the division ones are not going to have a remainder. They're not. They're not. They're not. They're not. So don't say they are, Christopher. All right, so we've got to write this in. My divisor is 15. My dividend is 2,340. Okay, now, if I didn't know how to do this, I wasn't sure, I could do my multiples of 15. 15 times 1 equals 15. 15 times 2 equals 30. And I could do all the way down to 15 times 9. It's just like that worksheet we had on dividing 99s, where they did the work for you at the top, which made it really, really easy. Okay, so 15 doesn't go into 2. 15 goes into 23 one time. Yeah, it goes 15. I subtract. Oh, let's see. 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 8. Bring down my 4. 15 goes into 84. Let's see. 30, 60, 90. So it must be 5. 5 times 15 is 75. I subtract. She not up there?
No, she said go back down.
I swear she sent me an email that said she was doing it. 14 minus 8.
She said only the IST.
Oh, 9. Bring down the 0. And 15 goes into 96 times, I believe. Yes, 6 times. That's 90. We subtract, we get a 0. That means we'd get an answer of 156. Again, in my number 156, my quotient, 156. David, get in here and get to work. My quotient, 156. My decimal point's at the end. If it's not written, it's at the end. That means I would have to bubble in 156. Too many of you are making it 156. That's not accurate. That means my answer would be less than 1. If I had any numbers behind this, those parts are less than 1. If you put it there, your answer would be 1 and 56 hundredths. That doesn't make sense. That's like splitting $2,340 between 15 people and telling me each person gets $1.56. It's important to know where your decimal point is and to line your decimal point up when you're doing your bubbling in. All right, let's look at another one here. Oh, I like this one. 6 and 15 hundredths times 100. Because I'm awesome and because I've taught you, when you're multiplying and dividing by powers of 10, it really only means moving your decimal point. That's all it means, Katie, is moving your decimal point. If I'm multiplying, that means my decimal point goes to the right. The same number of places as there are zeros. So 1, 2. The answer for this would be 615. Didn't even have to do any math other than counting to 2. Again, my answer needs to be in the right spot, though. 615. My decimal point's at the end. If it's not written, I need to bubble in correctly and place my decimal point in correctly. If you don't do that, boom shakalaka, you're going to get them wrong. Why? Because I said so. Oh, let's see. So we've done that one. Let's jump over here and do 3/4 plus 1/3. I bet we've done this problem 63 times this school year. I mean, honestly, at least we found the common denominator for 4 and 3 63 times. My advice, once again, is to write it vertically. If you write it horizontally, it makes it more difficult for you. I'm not saying you can't do it that way. It's just going to make it a little more difficult for you. Now we need to find a common denominator. You cannot add or subtract fractions unless they have a common denominator. These two right now do not have a common denominator. I know because we've done 3 and 4 as denominators a million times that my denominator is going to be 12. Because if I go 4, 8, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12, they both have 12 as their first multiple. I need to multiply this by a fraction that equals 1 because I don't want to change the value. If I multiply it by any other fraction that doesn't equal 1, it changes the value. So 4 times what is 12? 4 times 3 is 12. So 3/4 and 9/12 are equal. Same thing. 3/4, 9/12, same thing. Exactly the same thing. All right, so 1/3. Got to multiply that by 1. Needs the 3 to multiply by 3, 6, 9, 12. That one's going to be 4. So now I have 4/12 there. 9/12 plus 4/12. Please pay attention to the sign. 9/12 plus 4/12 is 9, 10, 11, 12. 13/12. Oh my goodness! That's an improper fraction. What in the world? Good, thank you for asking, Katie. If it's an improper fraction, we take our denominator is our divisor. Our dividend is the numerator. So we have 13 divided by 12. It's going to go in one time. Subtract, I'm going to get a remainder of 1. Or 1 and 1/12. That'll be one of your answers on that problem. Is going to be multiple choice. Well, your mark A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Not all of them, just one of them. Whichever one shows the correct answer. So now let's do 3 2/5 plus 6 2/3. What up, Tucker? How you doing?
Good.
3 2/5 plus 6 2/3. Mr. McMurdo, I hate when we're having to add with mixed numbers. I just like adding the fraction part because it's so much cooler, really. Only the cool people add the fraction parts. So how can I do it without looking at mixed numbers? Because mixed numbers smell poopy, and I don't like to work with poopy numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change each of these to improper fractions first. And I do that by multiplying my denominator times my whole number. So 5 times 3 is 15. Adding my numerator, which gives me 17. So this fraction becomes 17/5. Same thing here. 3 times 6 is 18. Plus 2 is 21. And this is 21/3. It's an addition problem. Now, I don't have to do it this way. I can do it just going through and doing it one step at a time like we did before. But I'm just saying, this is one way you can do it. Use it if you like. Don't use it if you don't like. I'm just saying. All right, now we need a common denominator of 15. I have to figure out what I multiply by here. It's got to be a fraction that equals 1, so I don't change the value. 17 times 3 is 21, 2, 51. And this is by 5/5. 21 times 5 is 105. This is an addition problem. Let's see, that's going to be 51 plus 105. It's going to be 1 plus 5 is 6. 5 plus 0 is 5. So 156 over 15. Oh my goodness, that's an improper fraction! How do we fix an improper fraction? Well, we've already done that when we divided 13 divided by 12. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take 156 divided by 15. Now, you know what's cool about this? You want to know what's cool about this? Thank you for asking what's cool about this. First off, if you divided the other fraction and you wrote down all your multiples of 15 on your scratch paper and you still had them, you know where we did 15 times 1, 15 times 2, 15 all the way to 15 times 9, you still had them, you could use it. You could use it. All right, we also know our answer is going to be somewhere around 6 plus 3 is 9. So somewhere in the ballpark of 9. So it's 3 and a little bit plus 6 and a little bit. That's going to give me an answer around 9. Bigger than 9, because we have bigger than 3 plus bigger than 6. So 15 is not going to go into 1. It's going to go into 15 one time. Subtract 0. Now this is the part where people mess up. So stay with me here. People mess up by not putting a number above here. Because it's not going to go in. When you bring down that 6, it's not going to go into 6. So people just want to make it 1 remainder 6. Well, if we estimated first, like I told you we should, why don't you listen to me anymore? We'd know that it can't be 1 as my quotient. So I have to have it, once I figured out it went into 15, I had to have a 2-digit quotient. I knew that. So I put my 0 there. It's going to be 1 remainder 6, or 10 and 6 fifteenths. Oh my goodness, 10 and 6 fifteenths isn't an answer choice. What should I, oh yeah, I should simplify this. I don't know why I was freaking out like that. I could simplify 6 fifteenths. Let me see. 6, 15, 1 and 6, 2 and 3, 1, 15, 3 and 5. No more. The greatest common factor is 3. So if I divide both of these by 3, I get 2 fifths. So my answer should be 10 and 2 fifths. That's so much work. Yeah, I know, but it's going to be 5 points on the test. So if you were just too lazy to do this work, because you're too lazy, then you would take off 5 points. I'm just saying. Of course, if you have your notes that I tell you to bring next week when we do the test, you'll already have this down, and you are not even going to have to really do the work. I'm just saying. But don't be lazy. I will post this. Yeah.
So we can do this.
Yeah. You can do it at home, yeah. I'm going to show it tomorrow. How you doing, Oscar?
Oh, I'm good.
Excellent. All right, let's look at another one. Let's jump over here. Oh, that's a good one. We are going to compare these. And we have 1 and 9/10 and 1 and 1900ths. This is going to be one of those multiple choice ones where they just say, is it less than, greater than, equal to, or none? Well, it obviously can't be none, because if you're comparing it, you can't say 1 and 9/10 is none of 1 and 1900ths. That makes no sense. So, I mean, when it says none of the above. All right, comparing decimals. We write them down, lining up the decimal points. We add our magic 0 so that they have the same number of places behind the decimal point. This one goes out to the 100th place. This one needs to go out to the 100th place. And then 1 and 9/10. Is that greater than or less than 1 and 1900ths? Andrew?
Greater than.
Greater than. So that would be the answer choice you would select, the one that had the greater than sign. And if we read this inequality, 1 and 9/10 is greater than 1 and 1900ths. That's how you'd say it in words. So if your teacher says, don't say, 1 and 9/10, the alligator's eating that, and 1 and 1900ths, the alligator's not eating. Because that's not sounding like big people. That's sounding like pre-K maybe?
Or a potato.
Maybe. All right, so we've done that one. Let's do the other compare here. 10 and 1300ths and 10 and 3/10.
Oh, thanks.
Now if we line them up again, and if they only go out, we added our magic zeros, and if they only go out to the 100th place, I kind of like to think of it as money, 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 money. It's all about those Benjamins. All right, so then I look, which is greater, $10.13 or $10.30? Well, obviously, $10.30 is greater, so it's going to be $10 or 10 and 1300ths is less than 10 and 3/10. They try and trick you by making this, oh my gosh, this is 13 and this is only 3, so this one has to be bigger. They'll try and trick those people who are too lazy. You ain't got no alibi, you lazy, and don't want to do the work. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right, so we've done that one. Let's do, oh, this is a good one. Let's do 20 plus 4, and that is in parentheses, minus 10 divided by 5. And this is another one of those griddable ones you got to pay attention to. We do parentheses first. So we start with our parentheses. 20 plus 4 is 24. We've done this. We've used these things. I bring down everything I have not yet used. We have no more parentheses. We have no exponents. We do have multiplication or division. So this goes next. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Thank you for your help. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Now we've used this, so I write down everything that I've yet to use, which is 24 and a subtraction sign. 24 subtract 2 is 22. Where's my decimal point in the number 22, you ask, Benjamin? Well, let me tell you. Benjamin, it's behind the last 2. Behind the last 2. Which means, when I write this down, I need my 1, 2 in the tens place. The other 2 in the ones place. Okay? And then we would bubble those in correctly. Questions, answers, comments, concerns. All right, let's look at another one maybe. I got to see what the phone call's for. I may have to pause it and start another video in just a minute. We'll wait. Who you got back there, Oscar? Oh, good. Thank you. Oscar's being helpful. All right, so let's stop it right now, and we'll do the second part. I'll film it after school. Yes, I'm going to stay after school because I care about you guys. Kind of.